Now I'm going to begin with the karakia, a brief mihi and just some general housekeeping. He honore, he kororia ki te atua, he maungarongo ki te whenua, he whakaro pai i ngā tangata katoa, ake ake, ake ake.
Amene.
Tēnā koutou katoa, tuatahi, ki ngā mate haere 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 atura. Kia tātou e tau nei, ka nui taku mihi. Ki oku nui, ki oku rahi, koutou e hui mai nei, e mātaki mai nā. Ko tēnei taku mihi kia koutou katoa. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Pukitape te maunga, ko te ārai te awa, ko Harauta te waka, ko Rongo Whakaata tōku iwi, ko Rohi Moe ahau. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. My name is Rohi Moe. I'm the project manager for the local elections this year. On behalf of GDC, it's an honour to have you guys here with us tonight for the candidate information evening. Tonight marks an important step in our democratic process. It's an opportunity for us to equip ourselves to consider what it takes to stand for council, the knowledge, tools and support that we've got available. So I'm joined by my colleague Tere Moana Kingi over here. She's our acting democracy manager and also our deputy electoral officer this year. Tere Moana is going to be taking you guys through our presentation tonight, providing some insight into what it means to stand for council. Stand as a candidate, the roles and responsibilities of elected members and what the process will look like over the coming months. So if you're walked into the wrong hui, now's the time. Sneak out. We're also fortunate enough to have James Beattie here with us. He's our subject matter expert on all things local elections. So any questions we're going to defer to James, but feel free to ask. And most importantly, we've got tea and biscuits, soup, fresh soup from the sourdough experience, locally made. If anyone wants to grab anything, general housekeeping, emergency exits just behind us through that exit sign right there, and bathrooms are just to the left. I think that's it. I'm going to hand over to Tere Moana, and thank you guys.
Kia ora. I'm usually behind the scenes in the little office over there, so this is news to me doing presentations, so bear with me. But I'd like to welcome you all here tonight. It's quite interesting. Some of you, or one of you, might be the newly elected member or even our new mayor. So I'm actually thrilled to be here tonight. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get stuck into it. So let's start off by talking about whether or not you're eligible to stand for election. To put your name forward, you need to be a New Zealand citizen, at least 18 years old, and enrolled on the parliamentary electoral roll. Easy as that. There are a few rules to know. If you're serving a prison sentence of 3 years or more, you can't stand. And if you're elected and later convicted of a serious offence, you'll lose your seat. You can only stand in one ward or constituency, not multiple. And yes, council staff can stand too. But if you're elected to the same council you work for, you'll need to resign before taking office. Want to be sure you're on the right track? Tonight we've made available the candidate's handbook, and it has all the details to get you started. I'll be highlighting two key resources that are essential for anyone considering standing in the 2025 local government elections. The pre-election report and the candidate's handbook. We have copies available here tonight, or you can access them on the GDC website. The pre-election report dives into the big issues and decisions that will shape the next term of local government. I'll touch on some of the key points this evening, but I really encourage you to take the time to read the full report. It's packed with valuable insights. The candidate's handbook is your go-to guide. If you're thinking about running, it's full of practical information to help you understand the process and what to expect if you decide to put your name forward. There's a lot to cover tonight, so if you have any questions along the way, don't hesitate to raise your hand. We'll also have a Q&A session at the end to make sure you leave with the answers you require. Gisborne District Council is one of just 6 unitary authorities in Aotearoa, so we do it all. Our mahi covers everything from roads, water and waste, to protecting the environment and supporting community wellbeing. Our governance structure. Gisborne District Council is made up of a mayor and 13 councillors, elected every 3 years. 5 represent the Māori ward, 8 the general ward, but everyone's here to serve all of Te Tairawhiti. Our council has one appointed employee, the Chief Executive Nadine Thatcher-Swan. Nadine leads a team of 5 directors and a Chief Financial Officer. Together they manage 500 plus staff across 6 hubs and the office of the Chief Executive. Council is deeply committed to embedding the principles of te tiriti o Waitangi in everything we do, not just in policy but in everyday decision making. That means creating space for Māori voices at the table, recognising tangata whenua as kaitiaki, guardians of the land, building relationships based on trust, respect and shared purpose. As we navigate big changes, whether it's reform, climate resilience or community growth, these partnerships aren't just important, they're essential. They guide how we work, who we work with and who we serve. Let's be real, we're facing some tough headwinds. Climate change is accelerating, our infrastructure is ageing, and the cost of delivering services, well, it's going up. But we're not standing still. Our 2024 to 2027 3-year plan is all about smart, future-focused action. We're going to zero in on what matters most. Road safety, flood protection, water resilience and native biodiversity restoration. As an elected member, you'll be part of the decision-making process. It's about building a region that's affordable, resilient and sustainable, not just for today, but for generations to come. But we'll talk about the big picture. The pre-election report highlights the major issues and choices that will shape the next 3 years of local government. Here in Te Tairawhiti, we're already feeling the impact of major central government reforms. This isn't just fine-tuning, we're talking about big changes, like proposed Māori ward legislation, the repeal of the RMA, new climate laws and tougher rules for managing water services. So what does that mean for us? It means councils will need to think differently, act boldly and work together. You'll be part of decisions that shape our region, not just for today but for future generations. As an elected member, you'll receive reports packed with information and recommendations. Sometimes you all agree. Other times you'll need to debate or vote. Either way, you'll be making decisions that matter. Want to see what it's like? Watch one of our council committee meetings on YouTube. Or better yet, come along to a public meeting. Dates are on our website. It's a great way to see local democracy in action. In 2023, cyclones Hal and Gabriel hit Tairawhiti hard, damaging land, infrastructure and livelihoods. But recovery isn't just about repairs. It's about building smarter, stronger and more resilient communities for the future. This is where you come in. As an elected member, you'll help shape this transformation. You'll receive updates, weigh up recommendations and make decisions that guide our region forward. So our projects are all about delivering real value for our community, aligned with our shared vision. They're backed by strong investment, council funding plus government grants and subsidies. Want to know where the money comes from and how it's used? The pre-election report has you covered. It includes our funding impact statement and a statement of financial position, showing you how we fund our work, where it goes and what council owns and owes at year end. It's all there, clear, transparent and ready for you to explore. I'm now going to walk you through some key information about standing for election. We'll look at what the role of an elected member involves, what the pay looks like, and how the nominations process works. I'll also cover the rules around campaigning, including donations and the steps you'll need to follow. All of this information is also available in the Candidate's Handbook, so you'll have everything you need at your fingertips. Let's get into it. First up, we'll talk about the role of an elected member. Being an elected member is a chance to make a real difference in your community. It's about leadership, service and partnership. You'll wear two hats but have one purpose. Your representative hat, you'll be the voice of our community, bringing local issues to the table. And then there's your governance hat. You help make decisions that benefit the whole district, not just one group. Honouring Te Tiriti o Waitangi, building strong, respectful relationships with iwi and hapu, supporting co-governance and post-settlement partnerships, recognising mana whenua and uphold the principles of partnership in the Local Government Act. Be prepared, there's a lot of reading. Agendas are usually out Friday evening, which gives you the weekend and 2 workdays to prepare. Tonight we've brought along some examples of our agendas. These are also published to the meeting section on the GDC website. Did I mention there's a lot of reading? There is. So expect to read, ask questions and come ready to contribute. Your calendar will fill out with council and committee meetings, community events, calls and emails from residents. We will now hear from ex-councillor Tony Robinson, who will share his experience as an elected member.
Kia ora te whānau. We are here today with ex-councillor Tony Robinson, who's just going to give us a bit of insight about his experience in council. So Tony,
Hi.
what were some of the more rewarding experiences that you had as councillor?
Gosh, that's a tough question to start with, to be honest. Successfully working with the group as a team instead of going with your own kaupapa, because you can't succeed in council unless you are part of the team. And the most rewarding thing in my term in council was voting for the initiation of the Māori wards.
What were some of the biggest challenges?
You know, everyone brings their own thoughts and values to the table, and then it's about trying to find that majority to really get things across. There are people who will vote against almost everything or try to abstain, but you are there to make hard decisions and actually stand up for the people of Tairāwhiti.
So can you tell me a little bit about how the role may have impacted your personal life?
It's said to be about a 0.5 FTE, so around about 20 hours a week. It's really hard to gauge because you have community engagement, which is all the time. It's unofficial, it's not formal, and then you have the formal council meetings. The one thing people running for council have got to be aware of, there is a massive responsibility in being prepared. You get big agendas, several hundred pages, they are prepared in short time frames, and you've got to read it and you've got to make a decision. So I cannot stress enough, people have got to be prepared to really do their job properly.
What motivated you to stand for council?
It sounds a bit cliche, but I actually love Tairāwhiti. I love our people. I thought I could contribute, and it was the most rewarding experience. Absolutely was. Wonderful, wonderful experience.
So if you could go back in time and give yourself some advice before you started in the role, what would that be?
It would be, I pride myself in researching, so I would have done more research on understanding the real clear difference between governance and operational. Understanding that whilst you might have your own kaupapa or the kaupapa of a particular community, in that room there are a lot of other views, and it's really about being able to work with other people.
Thank you so much for your time today, Tony. Have you got any last words you want to share with our community?
I do. Real democracy requires participation. Get out there, enrol, vote, put yourself forward. We love our community, do your best.
Is there any questions before I move on? No? Put your hand up. Let's talk about pay. If you're elected, you'll be paid for the work you do. This pay is called remuneration. It's set by the Remuneration Authority, which also decides what allowances and expenses you can claim. Some costs can be reimbursed, like travel for council business. You'll be classed as self-employed, which means you'll manage your own ACC. There is no superannuation scheme or KiwiSaver through council. An idea of what you may earn is in the candidate's handbook. So what are local election nominations? If you want to run for mayor or councillor, you'll need to be officially nominated. That's how you put your name forward to stand in the election. To do this, you fill out a nomination form and send it to the council's electoral officer. You also need 2 people to support your nomination. They must be over 18 and enrolled to vote in the area. You can't nominate yourself. Do not leave lodging your nomination to the last minute. Late nominations will be invalid. There's a $200 nomination deposit to pay. For the 2025 local elections, nominations open on 4th of July, closing at 12 noon on the 1st of August. Once you're nominated, your name goes on the official candidate list and your campaign can begin. A local elections campaign is when someone runs for a role on the local council like mayor or councillor and works to get support from the community. In plain English, it means sharing who you are and what you stand for, talking to people about the issues that matter, putting up signs, handing out flyers or posting online. It's your chance to show your community why you'd be a great choice to represent them. Running a great campaign starts with being organised and following the rules. The candidate's handbook has everything you need to know, from where you can put up signs to how to handle donations. One really important rule, you and your team must not try to influence how someone votes, especially in places like rest homes or hospitals. That's against the law and could lead to a fine of up to $5,000. So plan well, follow the rules, and keep your campaign fair and respectful. If you're running for election, there are a few important things to know how to keep your campaign on track. You'll need to record every donation or your spending. That's the law. There's a spending limit and everything you use to promote your campaign counts, including donated goods or services. If you're running for more than one role, you use the higher limit, not both added together. Campaign costs include things like ads and signs and social media. And don't forget, you must submit a donations and expense return by Thursday, 11th of December 2025. Keep it smart, simple and transparent. You've got this. Whether you're standing as a candidate or cheering someone on, we're here to guide you through the whole journey. How voting works, how results are shared and what happens if you're elected. It's all about helping you feel confident, informed and ready for what's ahead. Again, the candidate's handbook has all the details you'll need. Let's dive and explore what the next steps will look like together. This year, the Gisborne local elections will use the single transferable voting system. Voters rank candidates in order of preference. 1 for your top choice, 2 for your next, and so on. A poll is coming up on whether to keep or remove the Māori ward for Gisborne District Council. This is a binding decision that will apply to the 2028 and 2031 elections. The question will be simple. I vote to keep the Māori ward or I vote to remove the Māori ward. It's an important opportunity for our community to have a say in how we're represented. So let's go over a few key messages about election results and what happens next. Once voting closes, preliminary results will be released shortly after. These give an early indication of how things are shaping up. The official results follow a few days later, once everything has been confirmed. All candidates will be notified directly. If you're elected, congratulations. You'll officially take office after being sworn in at the first hui. This marks the beginning of your 3-year term and your journey as an elected member of council. Once you're elected, the real journey begins. There are a few dates to keep in mind that you'll need to attend, starting with your induction and training. This will help you feel confident and ready for what's ahead. One of your first big moments is the inaugural council meeting. That's when the new mayor and councillors take the oath and officially step into their roles. It's a special day that sets the tone for the term. You'll also confirm committee roles and the meeting schedule. Your first ordinary council meeting is already scheduled for the 12th of November. This is where the real work happens, talking about plans and budgets and community issues. These meetings happen every 6 weeks or as needed, and the public can usually attend or speak. To support you in your role, we'll also join a developmental program. It includes a self-paced learning, online tools and the chance to attend the LGNZ induction program, which is an awesome way to connect with others across the motu. Ngā mihi nui. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure sharing this kōrero with you. I'm excited to open the floor for any pātai questions you might have.
No questions or interests? And you should find pretty much everything you need is in the handbook. That you worked on over many years.
Yeah, look, thanks for coming, and I'm Rob Telf. I'm actually an elected member at the moment, first term. I just wanted to sort of say to people that, you know, everyone's, and I was exactly the same, everyone comes in here thinking they're going to change the world, and you realise very, very quickly that you're one person out of 14 sitting around a table. So, yeah, it's a real learning curve. It's probably taking 18 months to get my head right around the whole process, the whole workings of council, so it's a lot to learn. And you know, you do realise that you've got to have a team around the table working to actually make a change. So trying to just do it on your own, we all think we're going to change the world, it's not quite that easy. So I just thought it was worth saying that to you. It's a really rewarding thing to be part of, but it's remember you're in the spotlight all the time, and the emails and the phone calls and the text messages don't stop. They're 24 hours a day, and everyone thinks that you can just flick a switch and make the change. It doesn't work like that. You only employ one person, and that's the CEO. So yeah, it's just worth noting that.
I'll say a little word too. I'm also a councillor. That 20 hours a week I thought was a little misleading. It sounds like a nice regular 20 hours a week, but it's not. It's the bookwork arrives late Friday afternoon often, and your whole weekend is tied up with coming to terms with sometimes 700 pages of work. So you do need to have the flexibility in whatever it is that you do to be able to set that time aside to achieve knowledge and the understanding of those papers to be able to contribute. But as Rob says, when you've got your pedals off, your training wheels off, it is very rewarding. And you don't, it suddenly creeps in, you see something change, you think, I influenced that, and that is the satisfying part of it. Thank you.
Any technical questions, interest questions? What you'll see in the booklet as well, that it was touched on, is that there are some rules around election expenses and stuff, so you can't just sort of spend willy-nilly. There's actually some confines depending on what ward you're standing in, something to be mindful of. The other thing is you are required to keep a track of your spending, and you do a return, an electoral return at the end. A lot of these things are statutory requirements, and if they're not met, and this isn't to put people off, this is just talking people aware of the stuff. It's easy stuff. I mean, you just write them down, there's a form you fill in and you put your expenses on it. But it is a statutory requirement, something that people think, like, even if you lose, you still have to return an electoral expense form. So yeah, that's often what people get caught out about, and we have to end up chasing people. And they do get produced on our website, which is a requirement as well. So just something to be clear of, it's all covered in the handbook there. What other key things? If you're serious about standings, be aware, and the offences are covered in the book as well. You know, you can't sort of go out and give away free t-shirts and, you know, turn up at the local school gala and give people free candy floss. These are not examples I've made up. They're real examples I've been part of. Yeah, it's called treating. Yeah, so it's a technical term where it could be perceived as trying to elicit the vote of someone. So things like that. What else is some interesting little tidbits to know?
This year will be a little bit different in terms of the nomination period. So we'll nominate open on the 4th of July. You've got until the 11th of July to switch roles if that's something that you're wanting to do. If you're not, I think you require 2 nominators to support yourself putting yourself forward. And then that time you've just got to make sure that everybody in that is on the same.
Yeah, so you can actually be on any role to stand in any ward, but you require the nomination of 2 people from the ward in which you are standing. So for example, if you want to, you don't have to be Māori to stand in a Māori ward. If you want to stand in the Māori ward, you need the nomination of 2 people that are registered in that ward to nominate you. Same for the general ward, and obviously either of people in those wards who are registered can vote and nominate the mayor. The mayor is what we call at large. Everyone on the Māori roll in a Māori ward, everyone on the general roll in the general ward gets to vote for the mayor. But people on the Māori roll don't get to vote for the general ward and vice versa. You can't stand in 2 wards at the same time. You can stand for mayoralty, you can stand in a general ward, you can stand for mayoralty, you can stand in a Māori ward, but you can't stand in the general and Māori ward at the same time. Any other questions? Hey, and by the way, if you've got questions that you can't, can't find the answer to in the book, the team's here, just flick us an email. We're more than happy to reach out. Anyone else that couldn't be here tonight that you might know of that's interested, ditto. We're only too happy to help people in this process. It is a tough gig, it's a big gig. Local government's changed quite a bit over the years. I've been in local government for 21 years now, and I've certainly seen it change over that time. And as you know, our incumbent councillors have said, it can be a very rewarding experience. So I always take my hat off to anyone who puts their hand up to stand as a candidate in a local government election. So yeah, on that note, kia ora. And I'm happy to close, and then should I bless the kai as well at the same time? Okay. Ngai noi tātou kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te ata whai o tō tāpua, kia ihu karaiti, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhi ngā teitanga, ki te wairua tapu, ake, āmini. Ai whakawhitai na mātou kia koe te riki mō ngā kai e hora nei, ai hei oranga mō mātou tina nā āmini. Please join us for some hot soup.